You may know what happened on Easter Sunday, but do you know what happened the rest of the week leading up to Easter Sunday? My name is Steve, and I'm the senior pastor at Kingsport Community Church, and all this week, every day during Holy Week, we are taking just a couple of minutes each day to talk about what happened in the days leading up to Easter Sunday. So I'm so glad that you've joined us. If you joined us yesterday, you might remember a little bit about the fig tree that produced no good fruit that Jesus kind of, I believe, drew a parallel with when he went into the temple and overturned the tables on Holy Monday. Well, today is Tuesday, and I've heard some people call this Trap Tuesday, and I don't know if we're going to use that term today, but I like to think of it as a time of teaching and a time of attempting to be trapped. So Jesus was in the midst of his ministry at this point of the week. He was teaching, people were lauding him and applauding him wherever he went, and not everybody appreciated this. Not everybody really appreciated what Jesus was doing, especially those who were in power, religious power and governmental power. And so there's actually this point where in Mark chapter 11, verse 28, Jesus is ministering in Jerusalem, and this first group of people attempt to trap him. And these were the religious people of his day. These were the religious all-stars of Jesus' day. And they say to him in Mark 11:28, listen to this question. By what authority are you doing these things? By what authority are you doing what you're doing, Jesus? And who gave you the authority to do this? Now, the interesting thing to me is that right before this question was asked, Jesus had just told his disciples, again pointing to the fig tree, that had now shriveled up and died, that if they had faith, they could move mountains. That if they had faith, anything was possible. And that what God was really interested in was not their beliefs, not their works, not their church attendance, none of those things that the religious people of his day were really concerned with. Jesus said it's about faith. It's about what do you believe God can do in your life. And so as Jesus is teaching this to other people, it's setting them free from the weight of religion and the weight of sin in their own lives. And it's the religious people who are the most upset about this. So these people called the Pharisees say to Jesus, who do you think you are? Essentially. Who do you think you are? Who gave you the authority to do this? We're the ones with the power. We're the ones that you're supposed to go through, right? So who do you think you are? Now, if you keep reading in Mark chapter 11, there are other challenges as well, other traps that people attempt to lay for Jesus because they know that if they can get him to answer incorrectly, they can have him arrested. They can have him arrested, thrown into prison, and possibly crucified. Now, the next question that they ask Jesus and the next trap that they try to lay has to do with his allegiance. Some of you might know this scripture. It's where they come to Jesus and they say, Jesus, the Romans say that we ought to pay taxes, but we don't know if that's right or not. What do you say? And Jesus says, well, I say, give to Caesar what is Caesar, and give to God what is God's. Really what they were trying to trap Jesus on was, what is your allegiance? Jesus, are you faithful and is your allegiance to God or is it to Rome? And they were trying to trap him in this trick question and Jesus didn't give in. The third trap that they tried to lay for Jesus had to do with his belief in the resurrection. That was a big contentious issue among the religious groups of Jesus' day. One group said that there would be a resurrection. Other groups said that there would not be a resurrection. And so they tried to trap him in this question regarding who's going to be married to who in the resurrection. And Jesus is like, you guys don't even get it. But the trap they were laying for him was this question. Jesus, whose side are you on? Right? So you got this one group that says resurrection, this other group that says no resurrection, and they say, Jesus, whose side are you on? And you know what Jesus says back to them? It's one of my favorite verses of Scripture in the whole Bible. He says, your all's problem is that you don't know the Scriptures and you don't know the power of God. And he just kind of drops the mic and walks away. He says to these religious people who think they do know the Scriptures and think they do know the power of God, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. They lay the trap, and Jesus doesn't take the bait. There's one more trap that they try to lay for Jesus. The fourth trap, they come to Jesus and they're trying to trap him about what the greatest commandment is. You might be familiar with the scripture, even if you're not a church person. They come to him and they say, Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? You know what they're asking Jesus? They're trying to trap him and say, what are you really about? What are you really about, Jesus? And Jesus doesn't give in at all. He says the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. You're not pulling me into that trap. What I'm about is my Father's business. My Father's business. One writer said that on Tuesday we see the real historical Jesus, fully in control as he responds with grace and truth to traps on all sides. He knows what he is doing, and he knows what is coming. So our question for reflection on this Tuesday as we enter this day together is this: who do you think you are? Who has your allegiance? Whose side are you on? And what are you about? Those are tough questions, aren't they? Those are the questions that they tried to trap Jesus with. And today I want you to think about that as you begin this day. Who do you think you are? Who has your allegiance? Whose side are you on? And what are you about? It may not be what you think. And I guess really the question that I would have for you as we begin this day together is, do you know the Scriptures? And do you know the power of God? That will answer all those other questions in your life. Do you know the Scriptures? And do you know the power of God? Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. I'll see you back here again tomorrow for Spy Wednesday. Spy Wednesday of Holy Week, as we continue on our journey day by day in the events as they happened leading up to Easter Sunday.